All right, welcome to the show. This is a special show of the Ducks and Pucks podcast presented by Old City Sports. And I have with me a very special guest. I have Trent Sullivan, the 21st Duck for the 2023-24 season. Trent, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I know that my story was chosen by the Anaheim Ducks. It's kind of still crazy to think, the fact that my story um is meaningful to them and everyone else. That's just so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when the season started, saw the video and your story, and I wanted you to share a little bit of it. I mean, it's very, very inspirational. You've overcome so many things and early on in your life. Do you want to, talk a little bit about that? Um,
Yeah, so for what I can remember, and usually my mom is usually the one to help talk about it. But for what I remember, like I said, born July 9th, um, was not, I was not, I had born with a medical heart defect called tetralogy Truffaut, which is TOF. It's a certain heart condition, and I ended up um, in the hospital. I was born at Placentia Linda, but was transported from Placentia Linda to Chalk, where I had all of my, um, my surgeries, my um, all of the wires and stuff that I had to have as a baby. We didn't find out until I went to my pediatrician, who said, there's something not right. You might want to get a second point, second chest, or second review on this. Because hey, something's not right, and I'll find out because the doctor, when I was born, sent me home on Tylenol, and it was like, just fine. And come to find out that I needed a heart transplant. And then so what had all I was taken care of at Chuck Hospital of Orange County. And I had, I was on a ventilator, escalator. I had a nuclear shot in my head. I've had, I was on different machines that I can't remember the name anymore. But yeah, then I was then transported, then put on a waiting list for a heart transplant for a heart, and then I was transported when we got the news about my heart was um, found. They transported me from Chalk Hospital to Loma Linda University. And back in the day, everything was so wires and um, everything that hangs out. They had to. I'll give you a prime example. They had to make sure my body was leveled with all the machines that were there because it had to be the same exact like height as the machine. They didn't want to drop. They want because it was so specific. So I was transported from Chalk to UCLA to where I had my heart transplant at 5 months old, and I had my heart transplant at Loma Linda University. And at 5 months old, on December 10th of 1993, I had a heart transplant, and the doctor who did my surgery was Dr. Bailey. He's a world-renowned doctor who done a lot of amazing surgeries, but he did the placement of my surgery. But I also had another doctor that, of course, I do not remember his name, but had two amazing doctors. And then after that, got to go home after transplant. My mom's Christmas gift was me coming home after being in the hospital for after transplant. So that's where that's where it's pretty amazing.
yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, from all the stuff that you had to do, I mean, you had the transplant at such a, young age, and then you had, I mean, you had the heart transplant, you had a kidney issue, you had all these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all that at a young age. That's why I think when I look at you, I call you like battle tested, like early on, because I mean, we all have struggles in life, you
Yeah,
know, the stuff that you've gone through is more than, you know, that than your average person, obviously. Uh,
right.
how is that? I mean, how do you, I mean, it seems like you have a very positive outlook on life. I mean,
You know,
is that
you
how it,
know, to be honest, um, I treat every day as like, you know, uh, as as I do, because I've always said it's like I take it one day at a time, because it's just like you never know what tomorrow's gonna be like or the
right,
future's gonna be like. So I just take it one day at a time and I just see how things go from there. And then just trying to be positive with all the medical stuff. It's hard. It is hard. I gotta be honest, it is hard. Yes, there are days where I am not positive. There is that. But to think of it as like, you know, I'm alive because of my donors. I'm alive because, I was given a second chance at life, and I've always felt, in my opinion, that I was meant to put on this earth for a reason, and now I understand it after being alive for 30 years with my heart transplant. It's um, it's just crazy, and just staying positive through the hard part. It's just I look at it as like, okay, either I can say I can get this done, and I can be pissy about it, or I can get this done and be like, hey, I got this done, and I can now move on to the next step. Or I can be like totally down and be like, hey, this, and be totally scared about it. But no, I look at it as like it's a moving steps to being positive through the hardships, through the surgeries, through the sicknesses, through it's a lot. But I think of it as it's not something that's going to overtake me. It's like I'm going to make this in a way where it's like, you know what? Yes, I have I have my problems, I have this, but I'm still going to live my life. In a way, I don't know how, but I do. I mean, the things that make joy out of me is a going to Ducks games, obviously.
mhm,
Um, B, another thing about me is like I love Starbucks. I grew up with going to Starbucks ever since I was in middle school. I that's how the kidney transplant stuff all started. Was I could only drink milk, and all that stuff. But the things that bring me joy is what makes my days happy. Seeing my friends, going to the movies, and doing all the fun things, and taking care of people. And my friends always say it's you always think about other people before yourself. And my mom's always having to remind me like, hey, remember take care of yourself first before you take care of everybody else. But that's just how I work. That's
mhm.
just how I don't know if it's just how my brain's just gotten to it, but yeah, I mean, being positive, it's not hard. It's more of you're willing to be like, okay, what obstacles can I get over? That's how I think of it. It's like, okay, like right now I have an obstacle, and you know what? I'm almost over it. I'm halfway there. So, I had some trials and errors back in, you know, always forever. And, I think of it as like, I think God for sure was putting me on this earth for a reason and gave me a second chance at life. And wherever I go, just bring positivity to everyone's life.
Yeah, and I think that's a strong message too. I think, you know, a lot of the stuff that I try to do on social media is try to be positive. I try not to dwell on the negative. I really feel like you know, you put out in the universe the energy you want back. So if you put out, you know, positive, you know, it's not always going to work out, but a lot of times you'll
Oh,
get back positive, right? You put out negative, you're going to get back negative. So I
right.
try to look at it like that, and I look at your story and it's amazing because of just the stuff that you've had to, you know, overcome and endure. It's easy, I would say, for you to be in a negative position and you're not, which is huge. I think that's a big message for a lot of people, especially in the last couple of years. You know, we've had unfortunately a lot of negativity in the world and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that, you know, some of those things that happen are out of our control. Some of those things are maybe more minor than what we think about. You know, there's people like myself, I wake up and I thank God that, you know, I don't have any concerns physically right now. You know, I could later on, you know, I'm in my 40s. I'm not a spring chicken. And,
Yeah.
you know, something may come up sooner or later eventually with father time. You can't beat it. But
Right. No, for
that's what I
sure.
think I like about when I heard your story, you know, is that you've taken the situation or the hand you've been dealt, however you want to phrase that, and you've turned that around. I mean, you do all this charity work. I was reading up, volunteer work, the way you interact with the community, and the different things that you do. To me, it's just amazing how you've responded to, you know, the situation that you've been born with, literally.
Yeah, yeah. And I've met patients, doctors will come and tell me, hey, would you mind talking to this person and
Mhm.
telling your story and how you, because they're scared and stuff. But yeah, it's yeah, like I said, all the charities that I'm a part of, it's the first one I'm going to start off with is my own family's organization. Like I
Mhm.
said, lost my brother at a very young age, and a doctor came up to my mom and said, hey, um, there's this kid who's asking for a wish. He's already had his make a wish, but do you want the second wish? He stood there. He's like, he had no answers. He had no idea what to do. He's like, he went to my mom in the middle of the hall while walking out. He's like, is there something that you guys can do? Because we already were doing, PlayStations and DVD players in over at the ICU unit for Chalk Hospital, and because we still were in connection with the ICU unit and all that stuff. And I started collecting toys when I was in middle school, and that's how Brian's Wishes kind of grew from there. But the main reason who we are, and a lot of people don't know who we are because they mistake us for Make a Wish because we're not. We're not Make a Wish. We are Grants Wish. We are 100% volunteer based. With my friends will volunteer half of the time. My family friends will volunteer. We're honoring my brother who passed away with cancer at age of 6, and I was only 9 at the time. Yeah, that's hard. I still remember that day that I was taken away. That I was was that was like I remember that day vividly to the fact that like I my last goodbye was like that last day when I saw my brother in the hospital and my mom's friend took me away and I was just like no I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave. It was like that's how much of a connection I had with my brother. And for us to do that for my brother, to have a charity to honor him and to honor kids who, relapse with cancers. Cancer is a horrible, horrible disease.
Mhm.
I wish it on nobody. I wish it on no child. I wish it on no human being at all. But
Mhm.
the fact that it's there, but the fact that we as individuals can come in and grant a kid's wish and brighten their day, it just makes an impact. And the fact that we're a Orange County based, charity out of Anaheim Hills is basically where our base is.
Mhm.
My mom's the starter of it all. My mom being a mother, being having 4 kids, 4 different ages. Having 2 sons who uh, me with my heart transplant. My brother having neuroblastoma. Having to there's times where like my mom would be in the hospital, where I'd be in the hospital and my brother would be in the hospital at the same exact time. So she'd be going back and forth. So it's really amazing to what capacity my mom could do to start this charity and honor my brother. We've granted in the past 20, it'll be 21, it'll be I think 20 something years already. We've granted 350 plus wishes in the
Wow.
span of, yeah, in the span of I think like 15 about like 15 years. So and we've done things from like, our kids wish for a TV, a laptop for school, because these kids don't get to live a normal life like everybody else. They're having to go chemotherapy, chemo treatment, in the hospital. They're sick, they're tired. And what I like personally about it is we're bringing one day out of their whole entire life. We get to bring smiles, and that's just what makes us so cool about who we are, because we are 100% volunteer based.
Mhm.
All our fundraising, all of my on fundraising is I do all my fundraising is through family and friends. I do mine on Facebook and on Instagram. I do birthdays and I do Facebook stuff about it and stuff. So that I try to promote Grants Wishes that way. And I I'm very grateful for what we do. And I don't think I would have. I mean, honestly, it's very we are very we are. I honestly do miss my brother very much. Um, I always think about what he'd be like, what he looks like, because obviously we were
Mhm.
4 years apart. There's a lot of what ifs, but I think of it as like, he's looking down on all of us and be like, we are, he is proud of us,
Yeah.
and and the fact that we are making the kids' day is it's just phenomenal. We've had kids write letters back, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for my gift, or there'd be times where like a parent would write us a letter and like the kid would pass, but they would write about their moment with us with that day, whatever impacted their child, and the parent would write a letter. And there are the circumstances that the child did had passed away, or the child did pass away, or their son or daughter passed away, and we would get letters, and they say, "Oh my God, thank you so much for giving my son or daughter a day of happiness." In the darkness that they've been through, they'll talk about, oh my God, they loved, whatever the item was, and all this other stuff. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is we make Shutterfly books,
Mhm.
and we take pictures and we take pictures of the day, and we pick all the good ones, and we send them to the hospital where they are at, and then that way they have they have a memory of their day, and they can look back like, oh, I remember this day. This is the day I got X Y Z. This is why I got an Xbox or a PlayStation, or oh, I got to go and do this.
Mhm.
And it impacts um a lot of people. I've truly seen that. And like I said, the other organization I've also been a part of, or I was all a part of because I went. It's called Camp Del Corazon. It's called Camp of the Heart. So it's a camp based off, or not based off. It's a camp for kids who have congenital heart defect, heart transplants. Going to have a heart transplant. All the spectrum of that area, who can go to a camp with other kids and or adults who have heart transplants just like them, and they go to Catalina Island for a week,
Hmm.
and they sleep in cabins. They have different names and all this other stuff, and it's super cool. And majority of the camp counselors are either doctors, nurses, um, you know, whoever they can be. The whole can all come and volunteer. And I've been a part of that for a couple of years too, and just be part of that. Um, and then another charity that the other charities that I've been a part of is like, the Renal Support Network. It's a charity that benefits kids with kidney failure, kidney disease, who are on a waiting list for kidney transplant, or, going to be on dialysis, or, the stuff like that. And the one around one year that they do about them, and it's cool because there's an event that they throw on. It's a prom for just for kids who have kidney failure. So
Mhm.
they call it the renal prom. And once a year they throw on this big party. You can dress up nice. You know, they got girls who can go down to the place and get prom dresses just to make them feel like they got to go to a prom. Because there's maybe some kids out there that may never got to go to a prom in high school, you know, or maybe I didn't got to go at all, you know. And it's cool because like Lori Hartwell, she had a kidney transplant, uh, but then she started the renal support network after that, and it's really cool. They're actually celebrating their 25th anniversary this Sunday, which I will be attending. So it'll be 25 years since they started the since they started the prom. But it's cool. They've had you know you know they got a picture guy come. They have a caricature. You know, it's a night for kids and or adults like them to come out and feel like, oh my god, I'm at a prom. You know, because there are people out there that may not be able to get to go because of their condition.
Mhm.
And and that's one thing that's really cool. It's like I like most people tell me like I like giving back. It makes me feel happy because it knows at the end of the day, like I did something to make someone's life, better. So that's where it's like the four charities. It's like they're huge. I mean, Grace Wishes is a huge part of my life. Renal Support Network. Capital Carl Zone, Pat Melvin Foundation, and just to go and do all that stuff. Just everyone just says it's just they don't know how I do it, but like I just like to. It's just I like giving back.
Yeah, and I think that's why you were more than deserving of being the 21st Duck with all the stuff that you've been doing, and you being nominated, this time and being the actual 21st Duck for the 23-24 season. So I think it's more than deserving. I mean, there's nothing, nothing. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know how much more you could do. You've been doing so much stuff in the community already, and it's amazing, especially with all the stuff that you've had to deal with, and now you're helping out other people. So it's been fantastic. And it was nice to see the Ducks. They had you out there on the ice. You got to go talk to the players. Your favorite player is Tamu, which is my favorite player as well. He got to surprise you in a preseason game that looked pretty amazing. I mean, how did all of that? How did you feel? Because I mean, I think that was a surprise for you, right? Your sister nominated you, and you didn't know until actually Tamu came and sat next to you. Is that not correct?
Yeah, no. So what ended up happening is, my mom and has been busy with doing things, and my sister asked my mom several questions about different things. And mom's like, "What are you asking about?" She's like, "Just come over." And they're come to find out they were plotting how to write this letter, how to write, how do I write someone's life in a long paragraph. And it's cool because I didn't find out until the day of the game. My sister did it. My sister spent. I found this out later. My sister spent 72 hours trying proofreading, doing all the story, trying to make all the stuff, getting it ready. And she had my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law reread it several times and say, it's perfect, just send it, send it, send it. And my sister's always one of those people like, oh, I don't know. It's like, no, just do it. Like, just he deserves it more out of everybody. And so the day of the game, my dad sent a message to everyone, like, hey, everyone, the game, we got a suite for, his work people, which kind of find out who it was. But so we invited all my buddy I've known since like the third grade, my parents, my grandma, some family friends and stuff. And, it was the day of the game, it was nonchalant, hanging out and all that stuff. And then like all of a sudden, like my sister started going outside talking to these random people. Like, oh, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is maybe it's from work.
Hmm.
And and she's like, oh, no, I'm gonna go talk to these people. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. And then she came back into the room, started acting very suspicious. And like I can tell when like someone's like acting very weird, like,
Hmm.
okay, like what's going on? And I'm holding my 4 month old nephew at the time, 4 month old nephew at the time. And she's like, oh, I'm sit down. Like, no, I'm good. Like I I'm good. Like I'm holding your child. She's like, no, come on, like, okay, guys, like I get it. Like you want to sit down, like, no. And it's like I got like a little bit more like it's like, no, just like leave it, like kind of like leave me alone a little bit. Like I got this. Like they're trying to take me, they're trying to like take away the child, like my nephew from me. And so my sister was like, oh, come sit down and hang out. I'm like, okay, fine, sure, I'll come sit down. It's like and so she comes sit hang out with me, and like, and I'm like, my sister and I talk a lot, but I'm like, this is weird. Why are you asking me questions? And then they had my best friend sitting next to her. So it's my best friend, his wife, my best friend, my sister, myself. And then all of a sudden I got like a hand on my shoulder, and he was sitting right next to me on an empty chair. They had this empty chair all set up, all ready to go. And I had nobody sit there. I was like, that's so weird. But yeah, yeah, it was super cool. Oh, I mean, like I said, I've seen Timo Solani before, but for him to come and be like, hey, it's like, oh my gosh, like, hey, how's it going? Like nonchalant or anything like that. And then him present me being indicted 20 for stuck, asking me to be the 20 for stuck, and all this other stuff. And it was super cool. We gotten to do all that, and um total surprise. Nobody knew it except my mom, my dad, my sister, and my brother. So nobody knew except just those four people. So
Hmm.
like my older brother didn't know, my sister-in-law didn't know, my grandma didn't even know. Like nobody knew except for just my mom, my dad, my sister, and her husband. It was super cool to uh be presented and for her to even think about that. It's just I would have never thought in a million years that I'd be picked out of, I think it was like two other candidates, and I got picked. And that's what's cool. And her initial reaction to all of that was when she got the first phone call was, hey, your brother's got was, is selected between these three people. We'll let you know, so keep your phone on you, so couple hours, not even a few minutes. She gets another phone call back. So she's thinking, oh, maybe, you know, like, oh, maybe they picked someone else. Time to find out, like, hey, by the way, your brother got picked, and she like closed her door. So she ended up closing her door, answering the phone. My brother-in-law, being as the kid, as he is such a kid, he's putting his like ear near the door, trying to see if he could hear, and obviously he could.
Hmm.
And he'd be like, and then so he's like in the hall, he's like
Hmm.
all excited, all excited. So they had to keep it a secret for about um from like August all the way until like October, like until like that day. So it was super cool. I was like, oh, because like the one day my mom and sister were together. I'm like, and we're supposed to send out invites for my 30th anniversary. It's like, get the list done. I have it all done. And of course, they didn't get a single thing done. And now I know why that day is. They were trying to write info and get all the names and stuff. So that was really cool. And then the opening night um, was something I'll never forget. Like I said, I've been a non-Ducks fan since I can remember. Fun fact is I grew up with Randy Carlisle and his kids when he lived in Hills. He was actually my best friend, she was one of his neighbors, so I grew up with, his kids,
Yeah.
him and his wife and stuff. So it was cool. Um, so like I feel like the locker room when we were kids, when me and my buddy Brian were little, we got to go, and so I have like stuff. I have a picture signed by one of the legends. I gotta figure out who it is now. But yeah, the day of the opener, that day was very fun. It was something that I've never gotten to experience before. Gotten to go, the home opener of our 30th anniversary. My 30th birthday, my 30th anniversary being 2 months later. Um, and everything that I went through this past year, just to be like, it was nice to be recognized for something like that. And
Mm.
they actually gave me before anybody else before anybody else even had this. Before anybody else had the 30th anniversary jersey, I was like the first one for like I think for 4 months,
Mm.
and everyone's like, "Oh, you got the jersey!" I was like, "Thanks," and I still have it to this day. And yeah, that day, play by play is getting to come in, getting to go on the plum carpet,
Mm.
talking with Troy Terry. I mean, it was a perfect match, Troy Trap, and getting to be getting to meet all the guys before the game, and shaking their hands. And these dudes are like just pure, like great human beings. And getting interviewed by Kent French and during the day, and um, talking about what it's like to be like 21st stuff. And it was an awesome day. I mean, um, if I could redo one day of my life, that one all over again. And then you get into like a relaxing time for a little bit, and then I got suited up, full blown, pads gear, full 9 yards, and it was super cool because like I never thought in my life that I you know, would be, recognized for my story. As I've always talked about, like, oh, I want to do something. Hopefully my story is impactful to everybody else. And that day where it's like, you know, when there's like, I forget how many people were the day of the home opener, but just to see all those people, just when I went on the ice uh, with actually I have to look at my notes because I actually took notes with I actually took notes now because it was uh oh yeah plum carpet with uh backward with plum carpet with Trevor Zegras and then also I had no idea that somebody came up to me and had like a phone recorder in its hand, and come to find out it was an Orange County Register.
Mm.
I was like, oh, and then I was interviewed by Ali Wasoff, and talking to her with her and all those guys and stuff, and then um, and then on the same day, going on the ice with Raquel Gudis and Cam Fowler. It was just like it was super cool, and the fact that like these guys are like, okay, I'll take you on and put you on the ice. And one thing is I do not know how to skate. I didn't know how to skate before any of this happened. They're like, oh,
Okay.
by the way, like, oh, by the way, do you know how to skate? I'm like, no. I'm like, oh yeah, it's time to learn now. Like,
Yeah.
thanks, thanks for the thanks for the uplift.
Yeah.
So well, so it's cool to my brother-in-law to to push back on the story a little bit. I got to, skate with my brother-in-law took me out, and it was cool because like a week prior to the opening home opener, I actually got to go and hang out at the practice with all the guys.
Mm.
And it was cool. It's because all these guys are like, oh, there's so many of them. I'm looking at me. And I'm watching, I'm having gear and whatnot. And like Rako Buddhist comes and says, hey brother, you want to go on the ice? I'm like, did Rako Buddhist just ask me if I want to go on the ice? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, okay. So I'm like holding on to Rako Buddhist. His hands are like 5 times bigger than my hand. So I'm like holding on with like my hands are like holding on to one of his fingers. So it was super cool to like do that and be around the guys and be like, hey, and shoot a puck from usually where they usually are better than I am by just going and shooting. And uh, backpacking to the day of the home opener, getting to meet the guy, getting to meet all the different people, and for them to just be like, just to be and be in the presence of you know of pure pro athletes. And
Mhm.
I'm just this guy who was from Orange County who just gets selected. It was like it was cool because I just it was awesome. And got to go on the ice with Rocco Gudis and um Cam Fowler, all that stuff. And it was cool because like these guys took me out and who are in Captain Final Circle, and I'm looking around, oh, like I'm on the ice. I'm like the Anaheim Ducks ice right now. Like this is what everyone's dreaming that I'm actually living in. It's super cool. And then getting throughout the day, it's just cool just to have people come up, say, "Oh my God, your story is inspiring to me." And I've had a guy recently come up to me a couple of weeks ago, and I was at a game and I was wearing my purple jersey, and total random stranger, but it was a guy who was at the game. He's like, "Hey man, you're gonna talk your stuff, right?" I'm like, yeah. He's like, your story was great and inspired me. Like, he was talking about the person who had a heart transplant. Like, I want to share your story, and you're gonna be and all that stuff. I'm like, well, that's nice. I mean, a random person who's attending the game who is literally coming up and like, hey, your story impacted this man's, life, is going to share it with someone who also had a heart transplant. It's just pretty cool. I mean, this guy was a complete stranger. I had no idea who this dude even is, and he came up to me like, "Hey, your story was inspiring." Yeah, I mean, everybody all the time when I'm there, they say that all the time, and it's nice because I I personally don't hear that a lot about things, so it's cool. And you know, getting interviewed by Ken French, Bear, a pure legend himself. I mean, nothing big or anything like that. Bear, Anaheim Duck, you know, player and stuff. So it was super cool. Got all my friends and family there. We had a group. The day of the game, my sister posted all over Facebook and Instagram. It was like, hey, Trent's gonna go get the game. If you want to go buy tickets, let me know. So we had a group of about 30 something people show up from Anaheim Hills, come to the game and and take pictures with me and stuff. And yeah, it was super cool. And at the end of the night, going home and rewatching everything on television, be like, oh my God, I actually got to do this, watched at home, rewatched some of the clips and highlights on TV. And I'm getting like the morning of the announcement when they announced me being 21st Duck, my phone blew up within a minute. Within ever like all of my family just started, all my friends and family started um, just blowing up. Like I've never seen my phone blow up that much, besides my birthday and whatnot. But that was like to see everyone's comments like, "Oh my god, yes, yes, yes!" Like, "Oh my gosh," like there was somebody who I knew, one of the nurses who I grew up with, who took care of me up at UCL at Loma Linda. She made a comment. She's like, "Oh my god, like the most amazing person to get picked," and she knew me when I was a newborn, when I was only 5 months old, and it was super cool just to see all of my friends and family be pretty proud of what I've got done, what I've been, been through and stuff, and be selected through something for this. It's huge. I've never thought in a million years that I've been alive that I'd be selected for something like this. It's just amazing. And it's just truly amazing. I'm still on cloud nine. It just blows my mind in general. And getting to meet the other 21st Duck, um, it's been super awesome too. And now we're all friends. We all have a group chat together and stuff. So it's super cool. I mean, it's a day that I will for sure remember forever in my mind. Yeah, yeah. It was a great day. I would say long day, but a great, long, amazing day. Gotten to get to do with my family, you know, all that stuff, and um, it's just awesome, man. I mean, I would, I it's truly been an honor, honestly. I love it. It's been great. They've always said that, hey, if you ever if you want something, sorry, it's my dog.
Oh, good.
uh, it's they said, hey, if you ever want something, let me know if you want to go to a game, XYZ. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. So I've kind of been going. Either a friend of mine will take me, or they're like, hey, do you want these tickets? They're in like 200 level. I'm like, sure, I'll take them. I hit one of my buddies, Andrew, Andrew Nolan, who I go with all the time. Like, hey man, you wanna go a Ducks game? He's like, free seats. Like, yep, free seats. Like, all right, let's go. Like I'll come hang out with 21st Duck. So it's honestly it's been great. Um, just to hear from another person who I don't even know,
Mhm.
come up to me and be like, "Hey, your story is a pure inspiration to me." And they are 100% a complete stranger, and I don't even know who this person is. And the fact that they said that my story is an impact to them means that I'm doing something right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mean, there's just, I don't know really what else to add. I mean, you've had all that stuff that's gone on early on. You've overcome that. Now you're giving back to the community. I mean, it's just amazing. Everything that's, that you've done and the way that you've responded to it. That's been huge. And I think that's a big, big message to send out to people is that when something maybe doesn't go your way, it may be minor, maybe big. I don't know. It depends. Everybody's life's different, but a lot of it's how you respond to it and what you do, going forward, because not everything is always gonna necessarily fall in place right away. And for you, it's obviously been way more difficult than most people early on in your life, and to see you take that and give back to other people and help out, and be a motivation. I think that's huge. And I mean, it's great to see that you were on there as the 21st Duck and all the stuff. I mean, it's fantastic. I don't really have much more, to say other than, if there's any like kind of final message you'd want to, give to anybody out there as we kind of close out the interview.
I've always said this to everybody who I've met, is I take every day as a gift, because you just never know what tomorrow's gonna be like. Um, you know, I was given, a second chance, and take take your days, enjoy the things that you enjoy the most, and always be grateful and thankful for what you have, and that we don't have. There's always going to be a bright side of everything. You just got to get through the dark side of it. Beyond, you got to be through the dark side of the tunnel. There's always going to be a light. There's always going to be days where you feel defeated, but always know whom is in your support group. Just always know that there's people out there that may not know what you're going through, but they're still um, going to support you for no matter what you have, what's going on. Like I said, I treat every day as a gift. Um, Take it one day at a time because you never know what tomorrow's gonna be like. Um, don't think about the future, just think about today. You know, all that fun stuff because it's at the end of the day, it's all you really want to worry about is yourself and always think about like the good times that you have. And it's you want to tell yourself, it's like, I got this, you got this. You may go through trials and tribulations, but you know what? You're the one that's gonna conquer them all. That's gonna conquer them all. I think of myself. For what I have to go through, and I conquered them. I'm still going through. I'm going through one right now. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm gonna conquer it. It's gonna get done. And you gotta bring a little bit light into your day, and you know smile every once in a while is a good thing. And um, you know, just know that you're never alone. Wherever you are in the world. And just know that you'll have people on every avenue. And yeah,
Awesome, man. Thanks for doing this and coming on the show. And let's go Ducks.
yeah, let's go Ducks. Yeah, no problem. I really appreciate you guys having me. I know it's been different for you guys, but yeah, it's been great. The season has been okay for all of us, but going to the games has been a lot of fun for me. It's I said this the other day to my mom as we left one of my doctor's appointments recently, as I did hear the news I wanted. And I went, you know what? I still have the Ducks games that are keeping me that are keeping me up spirit, and get to see all getting to see all the people, get to see Cam. I think that's what puts a smile on my face sometimes. It gives me a new perspective sometimes. Um and just to get to be part of a great community. It's been great. Another thing I forgot to mention is uh, I'm a diehard Office fan, and I've been an Office fan since the beginning of time.
Mhm.
And I just recently restarted watching it a couple of years ago prior to COVID. And I went through a lot. And the Office, got me through got me through some horrible times. And I was telling my mother at the time, my goal in life would be to meet Rainn Wilson. Like Rainn Wilson, I'd love to meet Rainn Wilson. I'm
Mhm.
sure he's a great guy. And the end of the story is my buddy that I went to high school with. He sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, look who's going." I was like, "No way! Are you kidding me?" And I'm thinking in my head, like, "Okay, what do I have to say? What do I have to do?" And I'm like losing my mind because I love The Office and I love Rainn Wilson. It's like so it was cool because like when I got the 20% off deal, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I gotta wear my jersey. I gotta bring him to sign and stuff. So it was cool to you know like stuff like that. It made a lot of joy. I did a lot of public relations for him for Anaheim Ducks that day, and asked him to do an old game, but I guess unfortunately didn't work out because it was just timing wasn't right. But it was super cool to like meet a guy that I've always wanted to meet and to know and tell him that I told him off screen a little bit because my sister-in-law took the video for the Anaheim Ducks. Be like, hey, it was like, hey man, the office has gotten me through some really rough time.
Hmm.
You know, it's so great to finally meet you. And I told him like, I'm a heart transplant, kidney transplant. I had a rough year this past year. The office has got me through some rough times. He's like, oh my gosh. And it was cool. The coolest part about Rain was I was trying to talk to him about, the 21st Duck stuff and who I was and stuff. And his publisher, who was next to him, trying to push me away. And it was cool because Rain was like, well, no, no, no. I want to hear this. Like, I want to hear his story. Like, I want to know what he has to say. So it was super cool to be like, okay, like you want to hear my story? Like, this is awesome. Like, because most celebrities like, oh hey, nice to meet you and meet on.
Right.
Pretty also literally spent like another 5 more minutes of my time. Because usually it's sign an autograph, take a picture, leave. He
Hmm.
was like, oh, like, because my sister-in-law was next to me doing her deal, buying an autograph for her and whatnot. So I was like, I gave him what I needed to sign, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him, hey, my name's Jim Sullivan, I had a heart transplant, kidney transplant when I was, I had a heart transplant when I was 5 months old. I had a kidney transplant when I was in high school. I had a rough year this year, and he's straight up, I'm not kidding. He's like, oh my god, you are an amazing person. I was like, well, thank you. I was like, to hear that from him, I was like, oh my god, this is so nice. It was cool. I mean, just to make my year, just to make my 30th year to, be the 21st stuff. Celebrate my 30th heart transplant was awesome. Um, it was, celebrated with 220 something people in Orange County with all my friends and family. And I made it an office themed Christmas party, and I dressed as um, classy Santa Mike. So I had the hat, the jacket, everything else, and it was cool because like I went through a lot, and I finally got to celebrate something that I never thought in my 30 years of being alive. I never thought I'd be able to. I never thought that I would have celebrated 30 years of my heart transplant. That's what's just crazy. And the fact that 220 something people of friends and family, doctors, nurses, even like my second grade teacher came, which is even more cooler. You know, it meant a lot. And the fact that Guy Bear and Chant French came and Sammy Glantz and all those all the people came. I was like, oh my god, because I sent them a thing. I sent them an email. I was like, oh, I doubt these guys will come. No,
Hmm.
they are, and what kind of schedule they have.
Right.
I'm doubtful they'll come. I guess what they have to Foundation said, I said, hey, by the way, don't tell Trent, like B Bear, Trent are gonna come down this time. Oh my god, thank you. Like, okay. So it came later and later. So they literally, I guess the story about that is Kent D Bear hopped in Kent's car, came from Anaheim or where they were, all the way down to Yorba Linda,
Hmm.
and surprised me with that. But I ended up seeing them from a distance behind the two doors, and I was like, "Hey," I was like, "Hi." Like, oh my god. Mom's like, "Oh great, there's a surprise." Well, you can't. I mean, it's kind of hard when you have Kent French and Guy Bear standing right at the doorway. You know, it's hard to be like, "Oh hey, by the way, like there's two people here for you." And it was cool as like if you look back at my Instagram, um, they posted. If you look back on his Instagram, on Kent's, he posted about it, and it was super cool because I didn't know what these guys were gonna say or post or whatever about it. It was super cool. I got up on the podium and was like, all right, if you're following me on television, I would start bursting laughing. He's
Mhm.
like, I want to bring up, two great guys, and I'm like, well, one legend, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna bring up Guy Bear and Ken French. So like, Guy Bear came and talked, Ken French came and talked first, and then Guy Bear finished last. So it was super cool to hear from like a pro NHL Mighty Dog player who's
Mhm.
now a broadcast, who now does,
Mhm.
broadcasting, um, to talk about how much of an impact I was to him. It was super awesome. I mean, it really made my day. And I had no idea that was even going to happen. I didn't even know they were even going to show up. It was more of the fact that, like, they took a half hour out of their day to come and speak at my 30th heart transplant anniversary party
Mhm.
in front of 220 something people was amazing. And all my friends are like losing their minds, taking
Mhm.
pictures, taking videos. My buddy on the corner was like, oh my God, is that Steve Bear? I'm like, that was super cool. And then being interviewed by KTLA 5
Mhm.
Sports, was also um, another great um, thing. Talked about my story with Crystal or I'm going to butcher her name, but with her and talk about my story and stuff. And like I said, that was I got that yesterday, and I thought that was just the super coolest thing ever. Yes, I understand it took a little bit longer um, to produce and write and stuff and do all this stuff, but yeah, when I got that text, when I got the thing yesterday, it was just super cool. I mean, just to be no, the thing is, it's just more to be noticed. It's more to be noticed. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, it's an amazing journey. I'm glad we did this interview, and we'll be texting and chatting throughout the season and the seasons to
Yeah.
come and everything.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm excited. Hopefully, us from both being from Anaheim Hills, Orange
Yeah.
County kids, it's pretty amazing to know. It's like, I've been a Ducks fan since probably 03, 04, era. And, just to come back and be a part of it again, it's super cool. And it's cool because someone who's from Anaheim Hills who works for the Orange County Register sent me a message the next morning, like, you're in the paper. I was like,
Mhm.
what? Like, you're in the paper. So we're scrambling all around Anaheim Hills to grab papers,
Yeah.
to grab, um, to grab newsletters, grab newspapers, because it had my name, had my story, had everything else like that. I was like, oh my God. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is like amazing. It was super cool. I know it totally made like my year, my day, it made my 2023 better for sure.
Mhm.
Started out pretty not okay, but ended amazing. And ended great. It ended with a bang, as they say, and I'm excited to be more part of the Anaheim Ducks team and family, as they say to me all the time. Gonna try and go to as many Ducks games as I can while I have the moments, and um, there's different events I'm gonna try and go to. They're been talking about me wanting to go on Day of the Ducks at Disney. I got approached the other day about it. They're like, hey, do you want to be part of the parade with ABC XYZ? I'm like, uh, sure. Let me not speak out right now. Just say yes.
Yeah.
You know, just to be a part, because I guess they do once they do it with every, like last year's 21st Doc. He's a part of the parade and got to sit with the guys and all stuff. I'm like, oh, I get to do this too. Cool. So I'm like, I know I'm gonna be there for that, and different events. So, but yeah, no, it's been an amazing journey so far. It's not even over.
Awesome, man. I'm glad that we could talk a little bit more and share it. So I appreciate it.
I appreciate you reaching out and willing to hear my story and all this other stuff. I know means a lot, and it's crazy to think that again. I always say this: it's crazy to think that my story can impact millions of people's lives with just by one story. That's just that's just crazy to me. That's just what's crazy to me. And the one thing that I'm currently working on right now is a lot of people don't know about this. Currently working on a project to talk about um, my life in a book form. So I'm trying to write a novel. So it's gonna be a long time until it's done, but still working on it. But yeah, it's called My Congenital Heart Defect. Um, my life with a congenital heart defect, um, or some in that area, and I have it all written down, um, and it's super cool. So I'm talking about like from day one to now to like birth to heart transplant, kidney transplant, all of this trials and tribulations to all the fun times with the heart transplant, living with the heart transplant, and all the people that impacted, and it's gonna I'm gonna try and make it like a 30th anniversary edition because being alive for 30 years, having my 30th heart transplant anniversary, and all that stuff. It's super cool. It's super cool. It's a work in progress. It's all self me, so it takes a little bit more time to remember the things that happened and stuff. And the downside of having the heart transplant is because the memory issues. It's a little bit more harder time remembering things, and my story, like things may not come correct. My mom will have to correct me. Oh no, this isn't. Oh,
Hmm.
okay, touch. So, but yeah, so that's a little few things that a lot of fun things in coming in the near futures.
Awesome. I'll look forward to the book, my man.